Bourbonbarkeep. Curtis?
No, great to be here as always, man.
This is a bottle that I told myself I was not going to buy.
You did say that. You told that to yourself and to me, I believe.
And to you.
Yeah, and then you bought it. I bought it too.
I did. I did.
I feel like we got a pretty good price on it.
I was going to say, in my mind, if I saw this on the shelf at 180, channel or no channel, I was out.
Yeah.
And then we found it for 150.
It was 150, 155.
Sounds right.
It was under 180 with tax. So you can imagine our, our glee, our joy.
That's not the word. We got High West, a Midwinter Night's Dram.
Mouthful.
And this is going to be, what is it, Act 12?
Act 12. What scene did you pick up? This is scene 3. So we're early on in the story here.
Early on in the story, we haven't, at least previous releases, I haven't seen a lot of variance in terms of the scenes, but I have seen a decent amount of variance in the acts.
Right. We were pretty clueless as to what they were going to do from act to act. The number 11 last year was the first one I tried, so from 9 to 10 and 10 to 11, I didn't have any idea how much they changed, if they changed anything.
Same. So we got High West. I don't feel like I'm a very large fan of High West. Just there's money that I spend elsewhere, but once again, this is kind of one that I look forward to, don't really want to pull the trigger on.
Yeah.
Here we are. This is going to be their Rendezvous Rye.
Okay.
Blend of that. They finish it in port, the Ruby and Tawny port barrels. Wow. So there's a little distilling, a little mixing, a little crafting, a little blending happening.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
And this is going to be a blend of a 95.5 rye and an 80-20 MGP rye. The
proof on there is 98.6. It's 49.3%. For whatever reason, that's kind of tougher math than I'm used to there. The decibel.
You would like something to kind of tie in the winter or Christmas or something.
The decimal there kind of gets me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's sub 100, and we've talked in the past about, spending over $100 on sub 100 whiskey.
And non-age stated.
And non-age stated. But for whatever reason, I like to make this bottle an exception. It is, like you said, I think 150 MSRP, so it's up there. But we were so impressed with last year's, and I'm pretty pumped to get into this one. So,
yeah, I think we'll have a lot of questions to answer along the road. First will be, is it better than Act 11?
Sure.
Which we shall do, hence the other Glencairn.
Correct. So yeah, you guys.
That's why the people are here.
Ooh. See, the thing is, I want to immediately compare, and I need to focus on 12.
We got focus, we got score, and then we can go back to back. I do get a lot of peppermint and a lot of plum.
Okay. I get your plum. I get a lot of raisin, but it's the golden raisin.
Oh, good for you.
You know what I mean? It's not as I don't know. I don't want to say deep is kind of a cop-out word, but it's more light and refreshing, I feel like, than your deep sun-made raisins that you're used to.
Yeah, I think it's tough if you took off the label, which we do in the lounge, to where you're just kind of smelling the juice. I don't get immediate Christmas vibes, but I love the marketing and the idea behind it, to where
cold winter's night.
You shove that Christmas whiskey down your throat and you like it, and people buy it.
This is very layered.
Yeah, I go Luxardo cherry juice. Or the cherry. I guess you can lump both in.
They taste similar. Yeah.
This is a lot of spearmint. I feel like I get a little sweeter of the peppermint, the gum.
Yeah, cheers. Almost like a candy cane.
I still kind of go with that kind of plum and cranberry. I don't get a ton of, in terms of the cinnamon or anything that you would equate to Christmas. Yeah. They don't advertise it as Christmas, but I feel like it's try our Midwinter.
A Midwinter Night's Dram. Yeah, you're thinking holiday season, cold night, snow on the ground perhaps.
Which still baffles me on the proof, where it's
sure,
Midwinter, we're going to keep it under 100.
Yeah.
Let's see. Cheers.
Cheers.
That mulled cranberry wine starts to come out. Pretty smooth. A lot more mint.
Yeah,
I still get a lot of mint.
There's more mint for sure than last year. Just based on memory, there is a little more brightness than last year based on memory. We'll try here in a second, but it's a nice warm hug at the end too. It lasts a while. Pretty impressed with the finish.
It actually really evolves on the tongue. I feel like it has hung around and has changed a couple times as it's lingered.
Yeah, it's layered a little bit, which is cool. It's like an onion. Yeah, it doesn't taste like an onion, but it's like an onion.
layers, guys.
Yeah.
It's like Shrek.
Yeah, I was going to say throwback to '01, I believe, was when that came out.
Shout out Shrek.
Classic. Anyway.
It's still kind of like this really nice spiced cranberry, cinnamon into like a mint spice.
Mm-hmm.
And as it kind of rolled into the back of the palate, it did kind of transform into more of a cinnamon bark and maybe like a tobacco, which was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a lot of port influence, even knowing it's finished in port? No. So we'll dive back in, sip two, see if anything else transforms. I'm rooting for a little more cinnamon, just kind of knowing what the title is. Like you root for this winter thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to get a little more rye spice.
Okay.
Like I feel like you could convince me that this is just a whiskey to start, and now I feel like this is going to turn into a little more
full-blown rye. Yeah, I'm with you. You said 95.5 and 80-20 was that blend?
Yeah.
So you're thinking heavy rye, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A man's rye, a rye's rye.
Yeah, that's a rye's rye. Yeah. Yeah, not a ton changed on the palate for me. It's just, it's really good. I really enjoy the finish especially. That's probably the best, my favorite part, I shouldn't say best, but my favorite part of that whiskey is the finish, the back half.
I think that second sip toned down the cinnamon to where I would say it's gone.
Mm-hmm. All right, back to Act 11. This is last year's edition. From what I remember, very, very rye spice raisin forward, and I loved it, so we'll see.
I really enjoyed it. I definitely had a backup of it.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've read in the past, Act 11 was a massive step up from Act 10.
Yeah, that makes me feel good that I jumped in when, the stock was rising. Yeah, I mean.
Much sweeter.
Sweeter, yeah, it's just
much
like
more raisin.
Stewed raisin.
Yeah.
Can you even stew raisin?
No, but you did. You just did.
Like crushed raisin.
Happy I wasn't facing you while I did that.
Yeah, they're very rye, more rye in this one than I got in the last one. Man, it's just very, very good nose.
Act 12, much sweeter, a little more syrupy, to where Act 11, at least on the nose, much darker, more date and raisin.
Yeah, date's a good one. All right. I can't get my mind off of just the raisin and rye spice. It's just perfect.
Yeah. Act 11 goes a lot darker, a lot more syrupy.
Yeah.
And I think tonight I may prefer Act 12.
That might change.
Maybe in January I could see how the experience would be a little more different.
Yeah, when the sun's setting at like 4:30, like that's like I want like a dark and brooding type of whiskey, and that's certainly more dark and brooding. I felt 12 is a little more kind of lighter and more fresher, for lack of a better word. Just kind of like a little more upbeat, like you're watching a happy-go-lucky movie. This is kind of a sad movie.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it nonetheless.
Act 11 is your Robert Pattinson Twilight, just kind of brooding in a corner.
Sure, this is your Robert Pattinson Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as which one you prefer, you say tonight, Act 12.
I flip-flopped a little bit. I think I prefer Act 11. I think there's a richness, a syrupiness that makes it kind of taste more complex and taste a little more rich, a little more ritzy, if you will, where Act 12 goes a lot lighter.
Yeah.
It still kind of sticks with like a peppermint and like a bright cherry now.
Yeah.
Like I've lost a lot of the stewed fruit, and I think Act 11 has it.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
I'm running low on Act 11. No, I'm going to rephrase it. I have a lot of Act 11 left. Do I need Act 12?
Do you need it? No. If you're a big fan of 11, I think you will also really like 12. They're relatively similar in the grand scheme of things. We're sitting here trying to compare and contrast and obviously trying to find differences, so take that for what it is. But in the grand scheme of things, 12 is different enough to also own 12.
Okay.
And if you're able to find it at $150, which is MSRP, I think it does justify that price tag. Now, if you're paying $180, $200 for it, that's a pretty tough pill to swallow. And if you have a couple of 11s on the shelf, then I'd probably pass at $180 for 12.
Yes.
But if you're getting it at MSRP $150, I would say that's a pickup for sure.
Yeah, I think it's different enough to where I could understand it. Now, the person that is hunting it. They don't have one. This is a good batch.
Yeah.
I don't know how bad Act 10 was. Didn't experience it, thankfully. But ultimately, like, I would, if we weren't comparing, this is very nitpicky. I think they are still extremely close.
They're same ballpark for sure.
And if you didn't have another one, you would enjoy Act 12 greatly, especially if it's something that you just, kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and even buying it so you can do, an experiment more or less, for lack of a better word, like this, like with a friend who also enjoys whiskey, or with a loved one who loves whiskey as well. Like, this is a fun hour to spend, comparing and contrasting. So,
all right. Grading, and then I feel like we got to at least talk about the substitutes that have been out there. We'll keep that at the end, so we'll see if you want to save some money.
Okay.
Census-wise, we have all our categories that we flash up somewhere.
I got them up there.
Now that we have
Yeah, shit, you took away my backdrop.
You just put it on my face.
Okay.
We'll do that. Full experience. You can technically take marketing into consideration in some of this. I mean, this is kind of the full gambit of what we kind of have here.
What you get with the whiskey, yeah. Senses. Really enjoyed it. It's not touching Nectar of the Gods. It's not anywhere near there. But that being said, I really enjoyed it. You are a non-age stated sub 100 whiskey. I think just pure taste and pure nose, palate, finish, the entire 9 yards there make up for that. I'm gonna go 80 flat. I'm not gonna put it, well into the great to fantastic category, but it is a great whiskey. And I think it's deserving of an 80, so that's what I'll land on there.
This will be my first 2-score of the year.
Okay.
I feel like the people need to know, I think, for what the bottle is, call it great marketing or not, when you buy the bottle, when you pour the bottle, you kind of know what you're going to experience in terms of this is Christmas time, and it just kind of amplifies the taste regardless. So if I'm taking marketing and all that in consideration, not this unicorn, Weller, CYPB bullshit that's out there, but I feel like this is done really well, and it's not this phantom hype, if you will. I think taking that in consideration, I think it's an 83 this year.
Okay.
I think it's very good. It's bright. It's fun to pour, and it's a lower proof to where you can really share it with anybody. In terms of the juice, I was going to go around 78.
Okay.
I think it's closer to the good stuff. If this was blind and you took out the marketing, it's very good.
Yeah.
It's complex and layered, as we talked about.
That's a very fair score, yeah.
We'll get to bang for the buck, and I think that's where I'll get on a soapbox, if you will.
But bang for the buck, 150 MSRP, we've hit that on the head a few different times now. That's steep.
Yeah.
Where are you with bang for the buck?
I'm 42.
Okay.
I don't feel like I get $150 worth, $160 worth on a non-age stated. We'll get into substitutes as well, to where if I could save $100 on a couple bottles that are out there, nowadays I'm going to do that. I understand the hunt, and I understand if you're running low, this is going to kind of scratch that itch.
Yeah.
If I found it at 180, I was walking away.
That's fine. Yeah. And at 150, I'm going 50 flat. I think I do get there with this bottle barely, but the fact that, like, we talked about it a second ago, when you tie this bottle in with Christmas and hanging out with friends and family and pouring really good whiskey, like that, it's a special, you only drink it for probably 2-3 month period in the year. I think it gets to the just pure justification of that price tag. So I'm gonna go 50 flat.
It's interesting because, at least in the comments that we've had in the past, where, especially bang for the buck, it's like, oh, how are you guys scoring it? It's like, it's kind of how we want, because we're here and
ours.
You're not. But ultimately, it's interesting because I put those senses into, or I guess the memories, if you will, into the senses, where you put in bang for the buck, and both are, I would say, accurate, and no one would win that argument.
Sure.
So next question, the person that is like, I'm not paying $100 for this whiskey, are they missing out on these 2 bottles? So you have Sagamore Rye. This is sherry finished, not port, so it's going to be different. Or Holiday Toast, which we did a spotlight on Lucky 7 Distillery earlier this year.
Right. So yeah, both of these bottles are This is probably 80 to 90, if I remember correctly, as MSRP goes.
Yeah.
And this is a little cheaper, 70, 75.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, more or less half the price. When you start comparing them to bottles half the price, it hurts Midwinter a touch.
I would say Holiday Toast by Lucky 7 is not a substitute, but it's a damn good pour, higher proof, to where I would shy away from sharing it with everybody.
Yep.
Like Midwinter, I could, price aside, if you will.
Yeah.
This one has a little more oil, a little more viscous to it,
A little more oomph.
but very Christmassy.
Yeah.
This one, what'd you think?
Yeah, so Curtis had me try that before the episode to get my thoughts. In the grand scheme of things, it's very similar to this. It has a little more sweetness, a little more lighter sweetness, like a little more like maraschino cherry almost.
Okay.
But that being said, it's still very festive, very holiday type of feel, and it's half the price. It is, you said sherry finish, right?
Sherry finished.
Yeah.
This one,
106 proof, so a little hotter as well, but you don't really taste, a hotness compared to the Midwinter.
yeah, I would say this one's just as smooth.
Yeah.
This one just drank like a cigar blend bourbon, to where I could see how the sweetness, a beginner would gravitate towards Midwinter a bit more.
Sure.
With the sweetness.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to save $100, this one is very, very close.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good. It's same ballpark, just in terms of overall feel of the whiskey as well. So yeah, if you're looking for a bargain, that's a pretty good option, like you said.
You would taste the difference, but you'll feel the difference in your wallet as well.
Yeah, you can buy 2 of those.
Take that for what it is. Now we know. Act 11 was kind of a banger.
Act 11 was a banger. Act 12 is close.
Bang, bang.
It's a bang. It's a mini bang.
It's a buy, though.
It's still damn good.
Yeah. It's a buy if you can stomach those over $100, under 100 proof, non-aged stated bottles.
Sure. Something to have. To you guys, appreciate you being here.
Oh, I'm empty.
Yeah, I had to do this one. See you guys.